give more returns. Get more security and more interest on your fixed deposits from Sri Lanka's largest finance company, LMDtv Finance.
To curb corruption, one must be courageous to confront and rise up against the corrupt. Sleep well, be guided by ethics and standards for peace of mind. Refresh Sri Lanka for a civic-minded society. In association with 99X. LMD, the voice of business.
Hello and welcome to LMDtv. Tonight on the forum, we are zooming in on human resources and talent management. And with us, we have Dilrukshi Kurukulasuriya, Executive Director and Chief Human Resources Officer of DIMO. It's very nice to have you on the show, Dilrukshi.
Thanks for having me, Faz.
Given the current economic climate in Sri Lanka, how important is the role of HR? And what specific HR strategies and practices do you think are essential in this situation?
So the economic climate in Sri Lanka is very uncertain, except for a few of us who are very optimistic about the future of this country. Specifically, the youngsters, young professionals, these generations want things fast and they don't like to live in the uncertainty. So, in these circumstances, HR's role is very high inside organizations because there are very limited interventions that organization can do to correct the country situation. So, however, it is very important to keep employees engaged in a situation like that. And they would like to know what the companies think. So communication is a key in a situation like that, specifically the connection with the top management, what they think, how the company profitability is going to happen, what are the new ventures looks like for the organization, how would this economic climate impact the business of the organization. So these are the questions that all employees would have. So in a situation like this, it is very important to have a communication strategy. So a lot of HR professionals have worked in this space to connect employees with the top management and keep them engaged. Sometimes what the organizations have to say is not very positive, but still it is important to say it. And that transparency is very important. So this is one thing. And also now this is during the crisis and when the new taxes were imposed, the HR community came together and we discussed what we could do in this situation, specifically the multinationals and the blue chip companies. The HR people got together and we discussed what is the best, and we implemented best practices, specifically to subsidize the tax. We absorbed part of the tax, and then also we had to help employees to get on with the economic situation. So we gave them dry rations, medicine, so the well-being. When I talk about the well-being, the mental well-being, physical well-being, and also financial well-being was very, very important. So we had to address concerns in this area. This is one situation. Most of us came together and discussed what are the best solutions. So, and what HR could do in this situation. And we looked at engaging employees, having a communication strategy, and addressing the well-being. when I say well-being, all three aspects of well-being of employees to be addressed.
Brain drain in Sri Lanka, of course, is happening at an alarming pace. How would you assess its impact on country's workforce and organizations?
There's a huge impact. I understand even now, even the government is encouraging people to migrate, thinking that there'll be more currency remittances. But we know that does not happen that way, except for from the domestic workers go overseas. Like, when professionals migrate, there's very limited remittances comes back to the country. So in a situation like this, the impact of brain drain is huge. It will not be seen immediately. Sometimes long term, this will be a huge challenge if not addressed immediately. We know most of the professionals and skilled workers who migrate overseas are beneficiaries of free education. And it is sad that we cannot reap the benefit out of them when they're experienced and when they're ready. So when you talk about talent, everyone is also not talent. I mean, we cannot let people go out. But in order to assess who is talent, now even in organizations, this is what we do. I mean, every employee is not a talent. So in order to identify as talent, they have to be above average, at least, but not just above average. Like, we really want to look at, if we look at critical talent, they are the high potentials. So probably I will answer some of your questions that you want to ask post this question. So in order to know that, we have to have a proper manpower plan. I think as a country, we should have that. So we can understand, like, which talent to retain in this organization. Now, to answer your question, how I would assess this, definitely this will create a skill gap in the country. And this will also affect the socio-economic growth. And this will also be one of the reasons that foreign investments will not come to Sri Lanka. If there's no talent in the country, then they have to spend more money to get foreign experts. So these are some of the impacts that I see. In addition, now the students going overseas and young professionals going overseas, experts going overseas, will leave us with an aging population and no skill, no expertise situation. So I think the impact will be huge in these circumstances.
What strategies would you recommend to mitigate the effects of brain drain and attract talent back to Sri Lanka?
Again, this is very challenging. Let us see why people go overseas. The circumstances are very difficult now. Gone are the days that we lost talent for competition in the country itself. Now we have to compete globally. That is one thing, because there are better opportunities and better salary and benefits. That is the reason why they go overseas. And other reason could be the quality of life. Then the opportunities exposed to them for research and development or whatever, for innovation. And I see one other reason coming in, that is the education of children. Today, I see most of the professionals go overseas or look at greener pastures, not for themselves sometimes, but for the sake of their children's education. Because let us face the reality, everyone wants to go overseas. I mean, all the children want to go to Australia, UK, or USA to study, right? So these professionals see the best way to achieve that is through getting their passport or getting PR and eventually the citizenship. So now, how can we address this? Then we have to counter all these reasons. As a country, as organizations, we have to create more opportunities for these professionals. We have to match or we have to offer competitive salaries and benefits. Probably now, over the years, different kinds of benefits have come into employee packages, rewards and recognition. So probably the children's education, overseas education, maybe one thing that the country or the organization could look at, because I see this is one of the main reasons for experts to migrate. Young professionals, it is very different. Very few go for employment. More young professionals go for further education. They don't sometimes understand the uncertainty of obtaining citizenship after that. But they take a risk and they just try to go to whatever the country possible. That, I think, the criteria here is the easiest way to obtain a PR. So if we can offer opportunities, better salary, packages, quality of life, and children's education, and also maybe retirement benefits. So most of these development countries have a good social framework so that, retired professionals are secured. So there's so much to do in order to retain or attract the professionals back to the country.
It's time to take a short break. When we return, we'll get back to the human resources and talent management sector.
Display your brand message on digital screens at prime locations. The largest digital advertising network in Sri Lanka. Emerging Media.
You're mobile, and so are we.
Gets me going.
Grab the Lite 87 app at the Apple App Store or Google Play now.
87.8 and 87.6 island-wide. Lite 87.
Welcome back to the show. We're talking to Dilrukshi Kurukulasuriya, Executive Director and Chief Human Resources Officer of DIMO. What strategies would you implement to identify and nurture high potential employees, especially in sectors affected by economic instability?
So as an organization, we identify it is a continuous process where we identify our high posts. We call them high posts, high potential. And they are always nurtured through providing them training and development benefits, not just local, but overseas opportunities, even sending them to NUS, Harvard, and IIMA, or we have a program like that. And also we offer them cross-functional exposure. We challenge them on certain projects, and also we offer them above the market rewards, total rewards. It is not only salary and the benefits. We have a percentage we generally maintain above the average employee to high potential, so that they are recognized and they are treated very well, rewarded very well, because we also offer our employee value proposition as making work enjoyable and rewarding. So this is what we actually channel all our efforts towards achieving this. So we engage them, we nurture them, and we make sure that they have a good time in the organization and they are part of a bigger vision and a mission than just their job.
Can you share examples of talent retention programs or initiatives tailored to the unique circumstances of Sri Lanka?
So one instance that I can think of is we actually changed our compensation strategy last year with the increased taxes. We absorbed part of the tax, and so that we could help our employees. And more than a normal employee, we looked at our key talent when it came to increased compensation and benefit strategy is one intervention that we have looked at to retain employees. And other one, as I answered in a previous question, keeping them engaged, because we see, other than the socioeconomic and political condition in the country, employees start looking out when they are not engaged. When they are totally disengaged, actually. So we try to keep them engaged through various mechanisms that could be related to their job, because specifically talent, like employees defined as talent, they love challenges. So we give them more challenges, overseas opportunities, and through training and development, we try to retain them.
How can HR professionals in Sri Lanka collaborate with educational institutions to develop a talent pipeline that benefits both students and organizations?
I think this is commonly happening in Sri Lanka. Most of the organizations collaborate with the universities and also vocational training institutes, as we also do. So we engaged and we involve in developing their curriculum. Then we also share the new technology that we obtain through our principals. We do career guidance, and then we have agreements to take students on board for their internships and for training. So through these, we can familiarize undergrads and vocational trainees with the organization. I think many organizations do this, from IT to production-oriented organizations to service-oriented organizations. Almost all the organizations collaborate with the institutions such as universities, whether it's government or private institutions, to align students with the industries. It can be better, but it is happening even at a certain level.
Do you think governmental and or organizational policies can help address the brain drain issue in Sri Lanka?
There's very little the organizations can do in this context, I believe, because it is bigger than organization. It is a issue of the nation. It's Sri Lanka. So I think only government can come up with the policy framework. Of course, organizations can help. I still wonder now, after free education, we do not try to retain our professionals to reap the benefit. I wonder whether we could do something to retain them at least for a certain period of time. So if they have such a policy, maybe organizations can help. But as I mentioned before in one of your questions, in order to do all of this, we have to have a proper manpower plan and identify what is talent for this country. So we need to do that huge exercise and understand what this country needs. Of course, if we have excess, we can always export, right? But we need to understand whom to retain and how to retain. That policy framework has to come from the government, I believe.
In the current socio-political climate in Sri Lanka, how do you approach conflict resolution within organizations, particularly when it may be influenced by external factors?
Yes, we encourage open door policy for conflict resolution. So any employee could walk into, any employee or employees could walk into a cabin of any top manager and discuss this. But also we use the employee council particularly to discuss this. But other mechanisms would be mediation, negotiation, and collaboration mechanisms can help to resolve conflict within organizations.
How can HR promote diversity and inclusion while navigating potential conflicts related to cultural or ethnic differences in Sri Lanka?
To be honest, this is also challenging, though we do it at different degrees in organizations, because organizations are part of the smaller ecosystem of the society. So we deal with people coming from different backgrounds and different perceptions and different understanding of this diversity. So as HR, what we could do is address the elephant in the room, create awareness about the unconscious biases that we have and how that will affect creating a respectful workplace, and look at interventions, how we could eliminate these biases and bring in good practices. So it is important for organization, the top management, to understand HR cannot do this alone without the support of the top management. So together, you need to create policies, practices, and measure the results. So, and embrace diversity as part of the culture.
We've been talking with Dilrukshi Kurukulasuriya, Executive Director and Chief Human Resources Officer of DIMO. It's been lovely having you on the show.
It was lovely to be here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you and to our viewers. Until next time, take care.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching and stay safe.